What's good? Today we're talking about 10 things you need as a music producer. So let's get right into it. First thing you need is always a computer. Most of y'all already have a computer somewhere lying around or your grandma's PC. I'd suggest use that first. Of course, if the PC is like from 1992 or something like that, you gotta buy a new PC. But most PCs are capable of handling basic music production. But what if you say, I don't have a PC, go with a Mac. Not a MacBook, a Mac mini. The thing is, you won't need a laptop at all. The first few years of your music production will be in your bedroom, will be at your place. It's really rare that you get in the studio sessions in the first 2 years. So also, if you want to cook up with a friend, they probably have a PC. And a Mac mini is like that small, you can always take it with you. Use something that's stationary and not portable, because you pay extra amounts of money for something portable when you don't need that. Let's go to the interface. And for interface, I'd suggest something that doesn't have a lot of input. You'll be only recording one thing at a time. What's a good interface you can buy? I wouldn't buy anything under like 80 bucks. If you buy something under 80 bucks, you get a cheap preamp. One thing I can recommend are Steinberg. They're affordable, they have good preamps, they're built by Yamaha. You could also buy Volkswagen Scarlett. A lot of people have that and a lot of people are happy with that, but I think the Steinberg is just a little bit better and a little bit more for your money. The third thing you need, the most important thing, are headphones, because that's the device you're gonna listen to your mixes, to your beats, to everything. I'd suggest buy closed backs, because if you're gonna record something, you don't want all that noise from the headphones bleeding into your microphone. If you buy open back headphones, they let a lot of noise out, they let a lot of noise in, which is good for the stereo feel. If you wear headphones for a long time, they're more comfortable. I'd suggest for the beginning closed backs. Audio Technica has really good ones, ATH M50X. You can also buy Bayer Dynamics. Even though I heard the top range shouldn't be as accurate, but they're still good headphones. Spend good money on headphones because that's really important, and once you buy a good pair of headphones, you won't buy more. One thing you might run into, and you probably will run into, especially if you buy a lower end Mac, you only get 265 gigabytes of storage, and that's not enough. You might get around 1 year, 2 years, and then your storage gets full. Then you gotta buy a new SSD, get all that data from your PC to the new SSD, and then you might not find the plugins anymore. Buy an SSD at the beginning. Also, I'd suggest keep your PC clean if you have old recordings you don't need anymore, or some plugin installers still installed. Always keep an eye out on datas that are huge, essentially plugin installers. If you're a singer or someone who records live acoustic instruments, I'd suggest buying a good mic. But if you're just making beats and using loops, make your own melodies with MIDI, I wouldn't really say you need a microphone. It's still good to always have one. But if you're a singer, you definitely need that. Some good mic suggestions are SM58. Of course, if you have the money, the SM7B is a really good mic. Rode NT-A1, that Rode microphone. And if you want to look for something more vintage that's not in the upper 1,000 euro range, Warm Audio, they have a cool W887 Junior. I'd look at that. Also, Audio Technica makes good microphones. I think Billie Eilish used one. Something I will show it to you. But yeah, that one. Those are your few mics that are really good and affordable. But if you're not a singer and you're more focused on making MIDI stuff and making beats, I'd suggest a MIDI controller, since it's always good to just have something to play your melodies in and not just always draw them in. It will create another inspiration, and it will give you more music knowledge if you use a MIDI controller instead of just always drawing that in, especially if you use other DAWs than FL Studio, because a lot of DAWs really lag when it comes to MIDI drawing. DAWs, there are so many digital audio workstations out there. It can be quite overwhelming what to use. Most of the time, if you watch some tutorials, you all probably know some DAWs already, but you think to yourself, okay, what's the best for me now? If you're an artist and you record live vocals, I would always suggest Logic, Pro Tools, and Ableton. Those 3 DAWs are pretty good when it comes to recording audio. Of course, I put Logic first because you have a lot of stock plugins, you have good audio quantization, you have everything you need to make a good track in Logic. Then Pro Tools is of course good as well, but Pro Tools costs a lot more. You can buy it as a subscription. I would always suggest you buy it as a student pack if you're a student, so you get a bit of money off. And the least I'd suggest for audio would be Ableton, because Ableton is a mix of audio work and MIDI work. It's not really designed to completely record audio. Of course it's possible and I really like it. I personally use it for guitar stuff, and you can use it for vocals as well. If you're a beat maker, there's no way around it. Just get FL Studio. If you're a beat maker, FL Studio is the best thing you can get. It has a really fast workflow, really good MIDI editing, it has decent plugins, but if you want to record audio on FL Studio, don't even think about it. It's the worst. You might not notice it at the beginning, but FL Studio has the worst workflow with audio, and I'd highly suggest not using it if you want to record vocals. For plugins, only buy the necessary stuff. Plugins, I'd suggest you buy Melodyne, Pro Q, and a few Isotope Ozone plugins. If you have the money, that's something you can buy, but use the stock plugins before you buy any other stuff. For the beginning, using the stock plugins will be more than enough. There are thousands of tutorials how to mix Logic with stock plugins. Don't touch any paid plugins yet. Use the stock plugins first. You'll be spending a lot of time on your mouse and keyboard, so make sure you have a good mouse and keyboard that support your wrist, that support your arms, so you won't have carpal tunnel, you won't have any arm problems at all. And that's why I always suggest use a good mouse, use a good keyboard, so you avoid those things. For me personally, I have a wireless mouse and I have a wireless keyboard, so I can record from or edit anything anywhere. A lot of people underestimate a good mouse, a good keyboard, and how much that can save time on the workflow. And now let's go to the last thing, and those are cables. You might think to yourself, cables? You actually need them. I always forget them. When I tell somebody, yo, go buy this setup, go buy this mic, go buy this interface, they're like, do I need anything more? And I'm like, nah, you're good. And I always forget that mics don't have XLR cables. You always need to buy XLR cables first. For example, some audio interfaces like the Universal Audio doesn't have a USB-C Thunderbolt cable. You actually gotta check everything and see what cables are included and what cables you need to buy. Also, always buy good cables. For example, if you have speakers, always check that it's a TRS cable. For example, this on my headphones, tip, ring, sleeve. If you have a normal cable, you will run into some issues like noise and stuff like that. If you record guitar, you don't only need a TS cable. I just recommend you look into it and see what is right for you, what cables you need, so you don't end up with the wrong cables. Also, don't buy too short cables. Always buy a bit longer. You might need it. That's it. These are 10 things you need as a music producer. I hope you found this video helpful. I hope it saved you some money. I'll see you in the next video. Till then, see you.